Hi there, Ifejot here. Welcome to day 4. Welcome to day 4. Kudos to everyone who has joined from day 1 and been tracking. For those who have sent a message to me personally and even on the YouTube platform, thank you. Lovely to read from you. Lovely to see some people engaging with this. I just felt inspired to put this out, and I'm just glad. Right. I'm just glad that for anyone that follows consistently, they get to the end and finding out that a lot has shifted in how they're thinking and how they're feeling. Now, if you've been following this from the beginning, I'm sure that by now you know that your ability to succeed has little to do with talent and skill and a lot to do with how you think. I'm sure you do know by now, right? I remember that there was an era when it seemed like the idea of how the mind works and how it impacts on who we become became a really popular study. And it still is a real critical part of how you grow and who you become. Today, I'll be exploring the importance of a growth mindset. I'm reminded of an experiment by Carol Dweck, a psychologist. And what she had done was she had two groups of children in an experiment. What they did with that experiment was to differentiate between having a growth mindset and having a fixed mindset. Now, with what they did, they realized through the experiment that children who were praised for their effort during a task were more likely to engage even harder tasks, while children who were praised for their smartness during a task were less likely to engage harder tasks. Why? The ones who were praised for their efforts must have adopted the idea that the commitment, the stretch, the discipline, the persistence was important, was crucial to the achievement of the task, right? While the ones who were praised for their smartness were probably focused on their smartness as the reason for their success. So if a task seemed harder to engage, the likelihood is that they step back from it because it was going to be a dent to their smartness. You can imagine how many people are going around in life with that idea that they want to maintain their status the way that it is at the moment. They want to maintain their status the way that it is at the moment, not understanding that the only way to grow is to walk into unknown terrain time after time. It is the passing through discomfort, going through with things that you're not conversant with. It is the learning, it is the stretching, it is the discipline, it is the persistence that moves anybody from where they are to where they want to be, right? And so what that experiment showed is that how you think about a task and how you think about growth makes all the difference, right? How you think about a task and how you think about growth makes all the difference. And what that really shows is that the people who think about a task as a means to grow, the people that think about the stretch that a task would demand of them as a means to grow are more likely to grow, are more likely to succeed, are more likely to advance than the ones who run away from a task or a reality that is likely to stretch them. Now, I'm reminded of the year 2020 when all I knew to do at the time was shut down with the lockdown. I'm sure we all remember the year 2020, right? I realized that my flexibility at the time to explore newness was my freedom. But it wasn't always like that, right? It wasn't always like that. My growth journey, my critical mind growth journey started then, actually. I've had multiple exposures to growth at different times in my life, but this was the one time that all of what I knew over the years was demanded on the spot. I needed to be able to decide if I understood what it meant to be flexible and adaptable and to explore newness and to explore new terrain and to explore new boundaries and to move into new frontiers. I was tested. And I believe, like me, several other people have been tested like that, tested at different times in either their career, in their relationship, in their businesses, tested in life, tested by being in a place where you are now stuck and realizing that what you know is no longer enough for what you need to become. Right? What you know is no longer enough for what you need to become. At that crucial point of reality where what you know is no longer enough for what you need to become, to growth you must turn. And it takes a kind of person to grow. Now, something that makes it easy to understand is that everything existent was first ethereal before they became real. Everything existent was first ethereal before they became real. Somebody was willing to go through the discomfort of discovery. All right. Somebody was willing to go through the discomfort of discovery and experimentation before execution and manifestation. right? And so that's the pathway, right, of creating any form of newness. And in anything, actually, once a person sees that they are stuck in an area, their flexibility is what determines their way out. Their flexibility is what determines their way out. I said the person that remains stuck is the one who remains rigid in their thoughts about possibilities. Once you know that something else is possible, you are more likely to grow than to stay stuck. You know, I like to put it this way. The level of stagnation that a person faces in any area of their life can be directly proportional to their level of resistance to growth in that area. The level of stagnation that the person faces in any area of their life can be directly proportional to their level of resistance to growth in that area. Meaning, if you are growing in an area, you are more likely to expand, you're more likely to explore, you're more likely to improve, you're more likely to get better, you're more likely to come to heights of comfort in that area. Every new level requires a stretch. Every new level requires growth. And so for those who are not disposed to preserving their status as known at the moment are unlikely to grow. You'll be required to get through the rough sometimes to grow. As a matter of fact, I've said that lightly. You might be demanded to get through the rough every time to grow. And you know what? I want you to begin to see failure as an opportunity for growth. I believe that buried in every failure are the lesson notes for your improvement. Buried in every failure are the lesson notes for your improvement. If all you know is all you want to know, then you have chosen comfort over growth. You need to come to that place where you tell yourself the truth. If all you know is all you want to know, then you have chosen comfort over progress and growth. And as a matter of fact, there's no improvement in life without moving from what you know to what you don't know. There's no growth in life without moving from what you know to what you don't know. And there is often huge discomfort in the movement from what you know to what you don't know. And so you want to move to that point where you're flexible and adaptable to come to the place where you're willing to grow. You know, there are people who struggle with discomfort. They struggle with newness. They struggle with any area where there's a demand on them to show their ignorance, right? If you always want to be smart, if you always want to be smart, then there's a higher likelihood that growth might be far from you. If you always want to be smart, if you never want to come to the place where you humble yourself in an area where you don't know and submit yourself to learning, I like to say this, that humility precedes learning. And so for those who haven't accepted to be humble at different areas of life so that they can learn, and learning is never ending, really. We're learning all through life. And so everything you're exploring right now is proof of all the things you know. Everything you're exploring right now is proof of all you know. If you want to do more than you're doing right now, then you need to know more. And it doesn't matter whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business, whether it's your career, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's your life in general, whether it's your relationships or friendships, whatever it is, if you want to have experiences better than what you're having now, it's not to do more of what you know. It's not always to do more of what you know, because sometimes what you know is no longer enough. You need to grow. All right. And so it is wisdom to know the time when what you know is no longer enough. It is wisdom to know when you have exhausted everything that is within your arsenal and come to the place where you need to grow. Growing is a skill. Growing is a natural requirement for the human condition. It is not expected that you stay static. Your next level of expression is dependent on your current commitment to growth. Your next level of expression is dependent on your current commitment to growth. And so for everyone that isn't growing, for everyone that considers that everything that I am now is what I will always be, and everything that I've become is what I will always be, then they are shunning the natural laws of life. You're not supposed to stay static. All of what you are right now is not all that you can be, meaning that all of what you are right now is not all you were designed to be, meaning that all of what you do right now is not all you were designed to do. Did you catch that? All of what you are right now is not all you can be, meaning that all of what you do right now is not all you were designed to do. And for those who are not curious enough to know what else is possible with their life, you are limiting yourself from your highest expression. The essence of life is contribution. The idea that we become all that we are supposed to become so that the world enjoys our existence, so that the world enjoys our presence, so that the world enjoys our life, so that the world enjoys our contributions. That's the goal of life. Now, if you want to come to the place where you unlock that mindset for yourself, and look, the goal for these conversations, and the reason that I'm taking us through all this is because it is possible, like I said in day 3, it is possible to just say, I'm going to put this down, I'm just going to do this and take action on that. One of the things that many people do not realize is that the reason they slack on the goals they set, the reason they never achieve the things they plan is because the person responsible for taking the action is not the kind of person that can take the action. And so you need to unlock that part of you that is capable of achieving the highest level of the expressions you've been designed to deliver. Now, so to unlock a growth mindset in yourself, look, I have not focused on what a fixed mindset is. With the illustrations I gave at the beginning, you understand what it is. You focused more on your current state. You focused more on your ability and capacity. You have assumed that those things do not grow, do not stretch. You have considered that you are fixed in talent and skill. What you know is what you know, and all you know is all there is to know. Now, if you are in that state of thinking, then you have a fixed mindset. There are the people that you would find likely saying things like, look, take me as I am, this is how I am, this is how I've always been, right? People who are adverse to growing because they assume that everything that is daunting is not for them, right? They assume that challenges are not for them. They assume that they don't have capacity to stretch. As a matter of fact, you're doing what you're doing now, thinking that you're doing your best because that's what you have grown to become. If you stretch yourself, you will find out that there is more that you can do that will soon become a comfort zone. I was speaking to one of my friends one time. Part of what we challenged ourselves to do was to commit to increasing our comfort zone. Did you hear that? Commit to increasing our comfort zone. So every time we get to a new comfort zone, after stretching and growing, we decide a new one that we want to achieve. It's stretching in the beginning, but it soon becomes a new comfort zone. And the moment we've achieved the new comfort zone, we stretch a little further again and do the same thing. And so to wrap this up, what I want you to catch here is the fact that committing to a growth mindset is more crucial for you and your progress than anything else. The only way that you are able to advance to all of what you are capable of, the only way that you're able to produce the best of your life, the only way that you're able to sit with the 1% of the 1%, the only way that you're able to do all that you were designed to do, which as far as I'm concerned is the most crucial part of life, is that you can unlock that part of you that is committed to growing. And so to do that, you need to commit to the following things. You need to commit to curiosity. And curiosity is simply that ability to continue to ask questions. Never get to the point where you feel too accepting of everything that you do not ask questions. Be curious about everything. Why is life the way it is? Why are humans the way they are? Why do I behave the way I do? What else can I do? What else is possible? Why is this the way it is? What else can happen with this? You know, what changes can occur? Our skills, our abilities, our talents are not fixed. Every superstar that you see dared to stretch themselves an inch further. Just grow an inch further every day. You'll be surprised what that degree of consistency will do for someone growing an inch further every day than someone that tries to do just one thing and decides after a while that that's the end and they plateau. Right? Just grow an inch further every day. Be curious about what else you can become. After you have advanced and achieved the things that you sought to achieve yesterday, what else is possible? Right? Engage curiosity. Now, the next thing you want to become adaptable. When I referenced 2020, I remembered at the start there, I was wondering what else I was going to do. What else did I know? What else did I know? Now, if the industry you're working in shuts down and you're clueless, wondering what other expression you have many years ahead of you, at least for what you know, what else do you do with your life? What else do you do with your life? Right? You cannot contribute to life if you're outside of an expression. A lot of people are stuck just because of their inflexibility. A lot of people are stuck just because of their inability to adapt. Adaptability is another skill you want to develop, and it is the ability to embrace new experiences and challenges as they come. That flexibility in the face of challenges is how newness is birthed, is how exploration is done, is how innovations are done. The fact that somebody was willing to explore uncharted waters. Another thing you want to engage is consistent self-evaluation. Now, if you're not checking the degree to which you are growing or advancing, you just might have plateaued and not know. Now, the only way to know where you are per time is to have honest evaluation with yourself. What else can I do? You know, it is possible for someone to start a year and have their resolution and tell themselves that at the end of this year, this is where I want to be. In my finances, this is where I want to be. In my marriage, this is where I want to be. In my relationship, this is where I want to be. In my spiritual life. I mean, people that go through consistent and personal development will typically use something called the wheel of life, right? And in the wheel of life, you have different areas of your life that you commit to working on, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, your marriage, relationship, all the areas that are critical to you, your career, your business, the areas critical to you. Now you have those areas laid out. And the expectation is that you would have rated yourself to consider where you are at the moment of starting that process to where you want to be, right? Let's imagine that somebody was on a 5/10. And so the way that they felt they had progressed over 10 was 5, right? Now, it is possible for a person to get through an entire year just to find out that they're still on a 5. Some might even find out that they are now on a 4. The idea is, if you're not consistently evaluating yourself, you don't even know what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. If you're not consistently evaluating yourself, you don't even know what's improving and what is not. The challenge is many people fear commitment to self-reflection or evaluation because it will reveal to them things about themselves that is inadequate, and they don't want to find out. And so you find out that people are more comfortable with denial than they are with growth. Get yourself under the lens of introspection. Get yourself under the lens of reflection. See where you are per time, because the only thing that proves life is growth. So if you're not growing in any area of your life, then you're dying. The only thing that proves life in a thing is growth. The only thing that proves life in a thing is growth. And so you want to come to that place where you evaluate where you are per time. Evaluate in blocks. I mean, what I do with myself is that I evaluate in quarters, right? I evaluate in quarters. So I have goals set in quarters. I know what I want to achieve per quarter. I know what I need to become per quarter, right? I know what I need to become per quarter. And so I know the areas of growth that I need to commit to, right? For everything that I'm becoming, I know the areas of growth I need to commit to. And so I'm checking quarter after quarter through a year to see how far I'm going. You want to commit to that, all right? And the next thing you want to commit to is resilience. Now, I've heard people say things like you don't need motivation, you need discipline, right? And I mean, I agree. Because many people are aligned to the way they feel more than to personal responsibility. And I'll tell you that personal responsibility is more crucial than how you feel. And the way to take personal responsibility is to understand what is at stake, what needs doing, what needs to be achieved. Resilience is part of how you're able to respond to setbacks and challenges that occur in your journey, in your path, in your way toward growth. The ability to bounce back, the ability to hold yourself together, the ability to tell yourself that the reason I'm on this journey is for that vision that I set at the start. The reason I'm on this journey is for that vision I set at the start. And so regardless of the feelings, you're able to pull yourself holding on to the vision. You're able to pull yourself holding on to the vision. And you know, the final thing I'd like to say here is to commit to learning. Now, I said already that if you're not learning, you're dying, because learning is the only way you're growing. All right? The beauty is that when you are learning, all these other things become easy, because your mind continues to stay alert and aware and educated about the reason you're committed to these things you're committed to. And so you want to hold yourself to that standard where you're telling yourself, look, all I know now is not all there is to know. And so to learning, I'll commit. I want you to pull out all the things you've written out in your vision again and have a look at the ones you've written, but you know that because of how you think you are, where you think you are in terms of talent, skill, or ability, These are the ones you think you have not achieved because of talent, skill, and ability. I want you to assess your commitment to the vision you've set. And I want you to commit yourself to growing in those areas. I want you to commit yourself to growing in those areas. And I'll leave you with this final word. A person that decides to grow is the only one that sees what else is possible. A person that decides to grow is the only one that sees what else is possible. So as you get away from day 4, challenge yourself in the areas you need to grow. Challenge yourself in the areas you realize you need to grow. I'll see you in day 5. Cheers.